Following the developmental phase transition in plants and the signals that regulate this developmental shift, we will now look at details of floral structure and development, particularly the initiation of flower formation, as well as the basic structures of a flower. In our last lecture, we identified two stages of vegetative growth, which includes the juvenile vegetative stage and the adult vegetative stage. Like the vegetative stage, the reproductive stage is also divided into various physiological events such as gametogenesis, as well as embryogenesis and endosperm development. As the plants go through these different events, they develop new structures. The formation of new structures are controlled by the expression of different developmental genes and are facilitated by the meristems. From our previous lecture, we defined meristems as undifferentiated tissues composed of actively dividing cells known as the meristematic cells. The meristems found in the shoot and root apices are known as apical meristems. Both shoot apical meristem and root apical meristems are composed of undifferentiated and rapidly dividing cells known as the meristematic cells. The meristematic cells are just like stem cells in that they can differentiate into different kinds of organs or plant parts. When a plant transitions from the vegetative to the reproductive phase, the shoot apical meristem or SAM switches to an inflorescence meristem. The inflorescence meristem in turn produces the floral meristems, which will form the organs of an individual flower. The inflorescence meristem is indeterminate, meaning it can keep on producing new tissues, specifically floral meristems. In contrast, the floral meristem is determinate, meaning it will only make one set of specified organs of an individual flower. Let's look at an example of how floral meristems develop into specific organs. This slide shows you the details of floral meristem development in St. Anne, a cultivar of rose. The electron micrographs that are labeled A, B, C, D, and E here at the top are also graphically represented by drawings here at the bottom, also labeled E to E. The individual figures depict the differentiation of a floral meristem into different floral organs, starting from the differentiation of sepals in A. Those are the tiny yellow ear-like structures you see here. In B, you can see the beginnings of petals in green alongside the development of the sepals. In C, you start to see the differentiation of both stamen in blue and also the carpel in red. You can see each of these organs developing in both D and E. The differentiation of the meristems into these organs are controlled by a set of genes that are expressed as soon as the plant starts flowering. Before we continue with the genetic regulation of different floral parts, let's review the basic structure and parts of a flower. Flowers of most plants will have sepals, the stamen, and the carpel arranged in concentric circles or whorls as depicted in this drawing. Imagine looking at this flower from a top view. This is how the different parts of the flower will be arranged. The middle whorl will be the carpel, which is depicted in brown. Following the carpel, in yellow, is the stamen. After the stamen, you have the petals in pink, and finally, you have the sepals in green. The carpel is the female reproductive organ of a flower. It is usually composed of an ovary, a stigma, and a style. The stamen, which form the whorl following the carpel, serves as the male reproductive organ of the flower. It is composed of an anther and a filament. Next to the stamen are the petals. The petals enclose both the carpel and the stamen. A collection of petals is referred to as the corolla. Finally, we have the outer whorl composed of the sepals. The sepals enclose the petals and form a protective layer around the flower bud. A collection of sepals is called a calyx. The outer two whorls composed of the sepals and the petals form the perianth or the non-reproductive structures of a flower. The inner two whorls composed of the stamen and the carpel represent the reproductive structures. Flowers occur in many different forms and shape with varying number of organs as illustrated by examples in this slide. Despite these variations, all flowers have a perianth or the non-reproductive structures and the stamen and the carpel, which are the male and female reproductive part respectively. Depending on the species, the perianth can be composed of tepals as in the case of the lily flower. Tepals are undifferentiated whorls that are composed of few sepals and petals. In some plants, the flowers will have lemma and palea and glooms instead of the regular sepals and petals, as in the case of rice. We already know that flowers are the key organs for the sexual reproduction of plants, and therefore are really important. But if you think about it, the carpel and the stamen are the only parts that are actually necessary for sexual reproduction. Aside from providing structural support to the carpel and stamen, what could be the other functions of the non-reproductive parts of the flower? For one, the variations that we see in the morphology of flowers are important to ensure that they get pollinated. For example, the showy colors and size of the petals of flowers of cross-pollinated plants make them attractive to pollinators. If the flowers are attractive, chances are they will be pollinated by insects. Cross-pollination, in turn, ensures that genetic diversity in the species is maintained. Another importance of the non-reproductive part of the flower is the benefit humans get from it. Some flowers are edible and so provide nutrition to man. In most cases, we love flowers for their aesthetic properties. The transition of a plant from the adult vegetative phase to the reproductive phase is accompanied by a switch of the shoot apical meristem to inflorescence meristem and then to the floral meristems. The floral meristems are responsible for the formation of organs of an individual flower. The sepals, petals, carpel, and stamen make up the basic structure of a flower. The stamen and the carpel are the reproductive parts, whereas the sepals and petals comprise the non-reproductive parts or the perianth.